See if this timed out. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Ruth Ann.
I'm Chris.
And together we are Geek Chic Promotions. I've been so excited to say that all day. I've been so excited for this. So it has been a long time, but we're ready with our Irish coffees. If you pour the coffee, I'm going to share this around so that we can have everybody join who can see this. It's been quite the adventure. We were realizing it has been 3 years since the last time we have been here with all of you to do Nude Rage. And yeah.
Yes, and Ruth Ann is more excited than I am.
I know, as usual, it's me. It's I'm in my career. Everything's gone wrong. I can't wait to take pictures of it because we had this whole plan for restream and to finally fix it up a bit.
We've been working on this for an hour, a full hour, of trying to get back into the groove of this, and it's been ridiculous, and it made me remember why I did not want to do this again.
I promise I will have it fancy instead of I just have to learn all the apps and all that fun stuff and then.
And also, I feel old now. Technology has changed in 3 years.
Yeah, it's changed so much. It has. I mean, TikTok exists. It did not exist when the last time we were doing the show.
Accurate.
It was still Musically, and it was just a super creepy app for cosplayers. Well, cheers to everybody joining us. It's
cheers. That's a lot of booze.
That's a lot of booze. That's a Ruth Ann pour there.
Do you want to see what kind of booze?
Oh yes, I do want to show everybody. Again, we are never sponsored by any of these people. We just like whiskey.
It's Writer's Tears, guys.
It's Writer's Tears.
To support you on the lines.
Yes.
The picket lines.
And we already have Joshua here. I got the location in time. Yay! Just finished opening the store at work, and no one ever comes in here. Well,
from work.
Yes,
that's amazing.
That is a true thank you, Josh.
We
We've missed
appreciate
you so much. I probably should open up so we can see the YouTube.
See if we're
as
on
well.
YouTube. Are we on YouTube?
Are we on YouTube? Let's find out.
We don't know, guys. We forgot our passwords for everything. We
had
had
3 years.
And not only that, but we've switched emails, and so we couldn't even access the email to recover the password.
It's true. It's true. It was, we've been having a good time. I don't even know how to. Can you even share from your app anymore? Forget it. I'm just opening up the YouTube.
I don't know. So we basically old school this morning.
Yeah.
And so Ruth Ann was all tech savvy now. She's like, we're gonna use this program. It's gonna stream all this stuff. And now we're back to janky phone on top of books. We're kicking it.
We're kicking it real. Oh, we have please excuse me.
I can't see.
Chris broke one of her contacts at San Diego Comic Con, so she's wearing all contacts, so she's literally doing this. Like, Chris, you might as well just take it off your glasses like I did. Akobe says the queens have returned. Hello, we're so glad to be back. Okay, so let's jump in and start talking about what we've listed that we want to talk to you guys about. So obviously we came from San Diego Comic Con, and now it's everything is different for us. Chris is at IDW now. Tell people a little bit about what you do at IDW.
I'm now at IDW Publishing. I'm the group editor for collected editions, graphic novels, and new initiatives, which includes webtoons and manga.
That is.
So, yes, I'm overseeing that, and it's wonderful. It's great. And so with you being, but I'm not locked into a booth. So
I right now,
very different experiences at San Diego.
I am back to working a booth, which I like and I don't like. I love being with people. My love for all of this came from falling in love with New York Comic Con in 2007. And, but yeah, being on my feet for 16 hours a day and coming out with swollen feet and ankles, not cute.
Which I recall from
my
day Skybound when we were doing the booth over there.
There was one San Diego, I think it was 17, where it was a crazy one. That was when we were doing
18.
Yeah, we were doing both the Summers War booth and then all of Skybound's events at that restaurant that they rented out.
Yeah.
And so we were literally 20 hours a day on our feet, just back and forth.
Our ankles, man.
Oh my God. And but I didn't notice until Sunday night, we do the loadout, which was surprisingly easy. It was shocking. So then we'd go out to dinner, have a few drinks with friends. So we've been sitting for hours. We get back to the hotel. I jump in the shower and I go because my ankles were the same size as my calves. It was not cute.
She had kinkles. By the way, I will literally be drunk.
I know.
If
perfect.
I finish this coffee.
I'm sorry, guys. It's perfect for me, but of course. We always send that meme back and forth to each other of like whenever like it's your friend who makes a drink. That's me. I'm person who makes that drink way too strong. Oh, and Second Street Marvel says, good morning, happy Sunday fun day, everybody. Kobe, it's cute, your ankle's sprained. Oh wait, even sprained. Thank you. Oh, that's right, at the beginning of 2020, I sprained my ankle. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
I sprained my ankle literally minutes after the midnight like ball drop for New Year's Eve, because I was at this really cute like 1920s like speakeasy party.
That's
and like
right,
me and my friend Bernadette were like, okay, wrap it up, we need to get out of here.
Union Station or something?
We're at Union Station. And had these very cute, very adorable heels, but they had it at Union Station, so when the floors got wet, they got wet. And like I was like, okay, let's go to the bathroom real quick, and then go, and then whoop, and just sprained my ankle so bad. And I kept walking on it because I was like, it's fine. I have no pain threshold. But anyway, San Diego Comic-Con.
So, yes. And also, let's talk about why we decided to
brand manager for a company, which is great and all, but we're just hitting that point again in this industry where we're like, we need us to be involved.
Yes, we took a break when the pandemic hit. Right when the pandemic hit. And Ruthann decided she was going to go.
I was going to try to find love.
She made a choice, guys.
3 loves later, it did not, none of them worked out.
She made a choice. And it didn't work out well.
Whiskey.
Anyway, so she left right before things closed down during the pandemic, and so obviously we're not going to get together and do this.
Like we were going to try maybe online, but
we could not do it remotely.
Yeah.
We're not that proficient.
No.
So anyway, we just took a hiatus. And then recently, as San Diego Comic-Con is coming back, we're hanging out with all our peeps over there and having a good time, and people are talking about it still. And so,
I literally had somebody bring up Ruse Day Tuesday, like a fan visit me at the booth that I was working, was like, hey, I miss Ruse Day Tuesday, bring that back. And I was like, it's so weird you mentioned that.
Well, and also, I feel like when I was getting interviewed at IDW a year ago, I know a lot of people, but the person who's interviewing me, who's now no longer at IDW, strangely, was like, how come I haven't heard of you? And I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know why you haven't heard of me, but I do, work at Geek Chic Promotions. I own Geek Chic.
That was so great.
It was really odd, and so we didn't really realize the reach that we had because it's just us two sitting here doing our thing, and so we were persuaded to come back, and we missed it and thought it'd be fun.
Yeah, and what's really funny is we both have opposite stories of why we even started Nerd Rage specifically. Oh, and by the way, she's become a dog mom in the last 3 years. That was Kelly in the background, who does have her own Instagram account. What is her Instagram account?
Skeletor, aka Skelly.
Do you want to go get her? Not tell the story.
I literally want to get up and be like,
go get her.
Damn it.
So when we started Nerd Rage was because I just love how much Chris knows about the industry. She has been a part of the comic book industry for like 25 years now, and so she knows everything on the professional side. I know everything from being just nerd. So and she's so knowledgeable, and she gets so passionate about the stuff, aka Nerd Rages about stuff. So I was like, oh my god, we need to do a podcast together where we just talk about the nerd news, and like Chris can rage. But for Chris, it's the opposite. She's like, I just need to get everything off my back. I just need to put a camera on her or something. God.
Yeah. That's all I have to say about that.
Christian Gossip Pictures, good morning from London, GCP. Hello, good sir. Thank you for joining. He's been having a rough trip with his mom getting COVID. I'm so sorry.
So he's 6 p.m. over there.
Oh, yes. So thank you for joining us this evening. Let's see. Oh, E-Man, hey, man. Good to see you on YouTube. Says, what it do, ladies? Wow, y'all back. Totally missed me at San Diego Comic-Con. Yeah, I didn't get to see you, but of course, I was just locked behind the booth. It was rough. So we just got so many people being like, hey, let's bring it back. So, and now technology should be easier.
It's not.
It's not today. Because like I restream, like my producer over at Aftershock used Restream, made it seem so easy. It's not as easy as I thought it was. So next week it'll
So yeah, I love the way Ruthanne's going through all this stuff. She's setting everything up. She's adding channels, and she's like, "This is so easy." And we get to the point. I was like, "What did that say? Go back. Go back. Go back. No, we have to go back." Okay. And so I take over and I click on this button, and it was like, "You have to wait 24 hours for all this to take effect."
I mean, to be fair, I'm just me, and then she can't see, so it was an adventure.
I was like, okay, all right. Plus the fact that, like, you know, I shelled out for a year. I was like, let's just pay for it.
Let's just pay for it.
You can't even use it.
We will use it. It will be used just within 24 hours. I keep playing with my hair because it's so messed up. Okay, and then so San Diego Comic-Con 2023. So this was a very, like, what is the word I want to use? It was very tense going into this con because we have obviously the writer's strike and the SAG strike going on, and full support from us on that. But there were so many people posting like, what is San Diego Comic-Con even going to be without like the Hall H panels and like the film and TV? Like, what is it even going to be? And I feel bad saying this because, again, like I've loved my film and TV people. I, you know, am eligible to be SAG. I've not gone SAG because there's no reason for me to do it. Like, I love everybody, but San Diego Comic-Con, it's almost been 60 years, and it's only been, what, the last 10, 15 maybe, that, like...
More than that, but...
Movie, I mean, like, really... Obviously, anything that was based on comic books.
Everybody who was in comics knew everything was going to be fine.
Yeah.
It was everybody who only goes for the movie stuff and the Hall H stuff that was, like... doom and gloom. And
yeah.
Like, oh my god, what's gonna happen?
But like,
and also people thinking that there was gonna be union picketing there, which is bizarre to me. You know, and talking about like, you know, if there's picketing, I'm not gonna cross the picket line. I was like, there's not gonna be picketing. It's Comic-Con.
It's Comic-Con. There's nobody.
Like, there's just it's not a movie studio. It's not a movie studio.
The misunderstandings of it all, and poor cosplayers be like, am I allowed to dress up as these characters? Yes, honey.
Oh my god.
You can dress up as these characters, just don't get paid by the studios to promote the studio. It's just, so yeah, and it's interesting too. So for me, even when I was just coming to San Diego as a fan, I never was interested in Hall H panels. Like,
I think once I was like, oh, I would like to see that, and then I saw the line, and I was like,
hard pass.
Yeah, no.
The one time I did a Hall H panel, and that was for
Mine was like Tenacious D. I wanted to go see Tenacious D.
That's right. What year was that? That was like pretty recently.
But no, it wasn't recently. It was like 10 years ago. Maybe it was like a decade ago.
In my head, a decade is pretty fucking
recent.
Yeah. It's in the 2000s. It's recent.
No, and I decided, I was like, I'm not waiting in line for this. No way. So I bailed on it. But since Hall H was closed, it was more traffic on the show floor.
Which was good for everybody.
Also less traffic. Bizarre.
Yeah.
You can move around a lot easier, but I feel like a lot of people maybe bailed, but also, like, the sales were up for everybody across the board
and this
on the show floor.
So,
and that's, like, the main reason why. Like, people exhibit at San Diego. It's not just, like, to, you know, promote.
Brand recognition. Yeah.
It's like, so, I remember back when I first started going, which was, I think, 2006, maybe, I remember people telling me that they would make their entire year's worth of sales just at San Diego Comic-Con, and so it was like a must attend. They had to go. It was how they made their nut, and it was very important. And over the years, it became like less and less of like, I'm getting charged a lot of money to be here. I'm spending thousands. I'm not making it back. And I feel like this year was very much like a return back to that original, like, I made more money. Like, I know personally, like, IDW made more money than they have in the last since before the pandemic. They went back to pre-pandemic and made more. And so, and we spent less on the booth because we weren't sure. It was like, how, you know, I mean, and by the way, spending a lot of money on a booth, we're talking $500K.
Yeah,
on a booth.
And what a lot of people don't know is like, A, $500K for a booth. B, it can be, is it a 7-year up to 9-year wait now to get a booth?
to get a space on the show floor, you either have to bargain with someone else who has a space who doesn't want to exhibit, or go on a wait list, which is about 5 to 7 years. And it's ridiculous. And I remember doing that for Summoner's War because we took over PC Gamer's spot, and you know, and it's not allowed, but you do it.
Yeah,
Because it's on the weekend.
Josh is shocked, like, what? Yeah, it's expensive and it's almost impossible.
It's very expensive. And putting the boot together for Summer's War, that was $500K.
Yeah.
And and IDW scaled back. And when you say scaled back, it's still a couple $100K.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, it's only $2,000.
Yeah, no.
So what's really interesting, and I'm really excited, we've seen, and we've worked with a lot of different showrunners when it comes to conventions. And what a lot of showrunners are focused on right now is film and TV, is bringing in those actors and actresses and that kind of stuff because that sells tickets. But as we just saw with San Diego Comic-Con, and I do just want to really point out that obviously we are very much for the strike and we support everybody because the co up like facts all they want right now is for equal pay and their hard work
Absolutely.
and to be shown. And thank you for saying you're with us. So
and for
whatever I say here is not against that
and
at all.
conditions to be put in place for AI for image use.
Absolutely.
Which
so
is really important.
What I'm talking about right now is going to be on the convention side of actually running a convention. So what we've seen is that we think it's selling the tickets, right? But then people spend so much money on. So they buy the tickets because they want to see Henry Cavill, right? But then they have to spend this much money to get the autograph, this much money to get the thing, which they're not going to then go and buy stuff at booth because that's a lot of money. Like it's a lot of money
to get a pass, to stay at a hotel, to travel, like all this stuff. It really comes down to how badly do you want this one thing?
So for somebody like us who know, and this is I asked this to you and obviously anybody out there who also is in the show running business. So now looking at this, the fact that, yes, people still came to San Diego, obviously, and they still had a great time, but they didn't have to spend their money on, seeing the actors, seeing the actresses, getting autographs. And then it made more money for the exhibitors. They're happier.
Yes.
Also, I could be wrong, and I'd love to hear from anybody who, was going to San Diego and was super excited about a Hall H panel and still went. Did you still have a really great time?
There was no Hall H.
Did you? Yeah, exactly. But that's they were disappointed that they didn't get to go.
Right.
Did you still have a great time? Did you because for me, if you walk away with stuff instead of of course, I'm not materialistic of saying that an event of going to see his panel, but for me, I've never been interested in Hall H panels because I can see it on YouTube later. I've never had that want to sit with a.
I'll tell you the one thing that they didn't do though. Okay, so they didn't adjust for no Hall H panels. Essentially all the traffic control was the as if there was a Hall H. And since crowds were less, it wasn't nearly as crowded in Gaslamp District as it was in years past. You could actually move, which was nice. It was crowded, but you could move. And they blocked off getting to the Bayfront. And so I can't tell you how many times people went back to their hotels, dropped off all their crap, took off their badge, and then went to the Bayfront to either go to the Eisners or just go to the bar, network, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. Not allowed over to the Hilton Bayfront because the convention center wouldn't let them in. So they would have to go all the way around, go over a bridge, and come back down, which was an extra 20-minute walk. And it happened to me. I stayed at the Hilton Bayfront.
Yeah.
Went out to dinner and couldn't get back to my hotel. And I was furious. They're like, sorry, nope, can't let you in without a badge. I'm like, the con is over.
And also
it is 10 o'clock at night.
It's also over there.
Yes.
I want to go to my hotel there.
I'm staying in this hotel. I can show you that I'm staying at this hotel. They're like, nope. And I was so upset. And apparently that is one of the biggest things that I saw online afterwards that people were pissed off about was the security. Not knowing where things were, shrugging their shoulders, not being helpful, and people just generally getting raging mad.
I feel like I told you this story, but security was really shitty. So
I said, hey, how about a pre-meeting?
Yeah, something, I don't know,
what's up?
Or even with each other to know where things go and all that kind of stuff. So yes, Gwendolyn, word, yes. So this was hilarious because you always forget that you affect people around you, right? Because when you're in your own world and all this kind of stuff, right? Especially since the pandemic, all that kind of stuff. So if anybody saw, there was one outfit that I had on, which was this one day that I was in literally head to toe rainbow, just nothing but rainbow, all this stuff. And when I was coming in the morning, I was coming in at 8 a.m. and I always had my schedule where I come in at 8 a.m. I go stand in the Starbucks line for fucking probably 45 minutes to get the very specific Starbucks that my boss needs, like all that kind of stuff. And I noticed that the door like by H or G was just open, and we were at the Hilton Bayfront, so I was like, sweet, and like they were letting people in, so I just walked in. I should preface that I totally forgot that this happened until I was working the booth, and this guy who was like walking up at some of the artwork, and he's like, "You, I know you. I love you. Me and my friends have been talking about you all day. We love your energy. Like, hell yeah." And I was like,
it's a little weird.
What did I do? So apparently there was an audience for this when I came in. I haven't told you the story. I don't mean to be bitchy
This
sometimes,
story,
guys.
by the way, is already Ruth Ann.
Yeah, it's...
I'm hearing it and I'm like, yes.
Yes, it's accurate. So I have like my jacket on, my bags on, whatever, and so I see people like, they're letting them in this door. And so I start going to the door and I just like hold up my badge, and the security guy's like, because I'm already inside, right? The security guy's like, "Oh no, you gotta go to door F for exhibitors." And at first I really didn't hear him. I was like, "What?" And I looked him in the eye and he said it again. And I just looked him dead in the eye and went, "Why would I?" And just kept walking. And apparently that just made everyone's day around me just cold as ice. Just like, and I wasn't trying to be mean. I'm just like, but why would I? I'm inside. Like, why would I go back outside?
Back out and go around?
And go in another door. I'm here. Why would I? Like, what? Are you gonna stop me, little man?
Like, also, like, I have a serious issue with, like, some of the people who run Comic-Con. Like, and every year I bitch. Every year I bitch. I'm like, every year. You know what? I just feel this, like, and as having run conventions.
Yeah.
This is just a simple 20-minute meeting that you could have to resolve this issue, and yet every year you do not do it. And it makes me so angry that I'm just like, I don't want to come here anymore. I don't want to be here. Like, I don't want to. I'm like, I'm now that bitch.
Yeah, like,
I'm
that lady.
So,
that's great. Well, and it's always hard for us, especially when it comes to like paneling at like WonderCon. There's several cons we go to, and we're like, just pull your shit together. Just let us do it.
Like, we can see all the errors, all the crap. Just let us do it. What are you guys doing?
What are you doing? So that was San Diego Comic-Con. Honestly, like, I had a great time.
It was a great show.
It was the first time that it felt like San Diego again since the pandemic.
Yes, for sure. And I went to the one that was the special edition that happened at Thanksgiving. And then
we haven't talked about because like that
one was weird.
That was weird. And
literally Christmas music.
Yeah.
Playing,
Oh my god, it was so weird.
Bizarre.
So like it was exactly because remember we were describing it was you, me, and Goss talking about it, and we're like, okay, like do we want to go? What is it going to be? And I was like, okay, it's going to be one or two things, and it ended up being a combination of the two. It's either going to feel like a 1990s San Diego Comic-Con, or the Thanos snap actually happened and we're just doing a con anyways. And it was a weird combination of both.
Yeah, it was.
It was so weird. There was no music. There was no carpeting. There was so few
There's still
booths.
no carpeting.
There's still no carpeting.
Which is another.
Oh no, there's some carpeting. My side was carpeted. Yeah, but not all.
Some. Our booth was carpeted, and people were all like, "Oh, this is so nice."
Let me just get in your booth.
About no carpeting.
Yeah. No. But
anyway. Yes. So that was.
We had a great time.
It was great. Yeah.
It was a great time. I made a lot of money. I beat records again for the booth I was working. So it's whatever. I'm great at sales. It was great. It was a good time. So, and just last but not least, I just want to make sure I get all my no carpeting. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, it is. It's a weird feeling. It's a weird feeling.
They gave an excuse for it where they were like, "Oh, it's more eco-friendly," and because they have to throw out the carpeting. Like, and I was like, "Oh, shut up!"
Like you're cheap. Just shut up.
Yeah, like don't give me that bullshit.
And Akobe also said my favorite panel at San Diego Comic-Con this year was Critical Role stuff and their new series Candela. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that right. We'll find out from the comments later. But that's another thing that's brand new since we've done Nerd Rage is like people finding D&D cool again because of Critical Role, which I love. And I'll just do a little mini rage. I have no hate. Actual people doing Critical Role now. I just know for a fact when they tested it out, they had like normal, awesome D&D nerds playing it, and then we're like, oh, this is a cool idea. They recast it with voiceover actors and like popular people. I'm like, oh, that's going against what I believe as a nerd. Like, can we just?
But also, I'm just like,
yeah, it tracks. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. It's also like that's the industry, so suck it. take it, whatever.
I put myself in that position, and I'd be like, I'd do that too.
I know, but
You want to make money, man.
I know you want to make
sorry.
money. I get it, but I'm gonna just say this, and we'll talk about it another time, or maybe I'll talk about it Tuesday this Tuesday. But like, one thing that's just really bothering me about the geek pop culture universe right now, and has been for the last, especially like 10 years, is millennials and elder millennials. We tried really hard to get away from the popularity like thing that we walked away from in high school. Do you know what I mean? Like that hierarchy, and now we just have it again via social media. In geek pop culture, like it's only the prettiest, most spoken nerds that like. I saw a meme
that summed it up perfectly, which was Gen X talking to millennials and being like, "Hey, so you need to learn to like toughen up and like take care of business." And then it was millennials talking to Zennials and being like, "Do you like me? Am I doing things right?" And I thought that was so hilarious. I was like, "That's accurate." Like it's like millennials wanting the
on the cusp, because like I'm a little bit of both, because like my Gen Z little brother a while back was like sent me something like cringe. I'm like, yeah, I'm cringe, I love it, let's go. I'll get cringier, fuck you, let's do it, you know, like I'll go to town to be I am finally comfortable with this weird creature that I am. Like, look, I finally like I'm living in my tattoos and my blue hair, like just don't care. I'm gonna make you cringe. And if you
but
like
also,
me,
like, I feel like everything about you is not cringe, because you're, like, that's what, like, shocks me so much, is because...
I'm sorry, like, you just cringed at me yesterday with another Rue pun, like...
Okay, your Rue puns are cringe. That's a Rue pun where you're like, Rue's to-dos. Like, okay.
That was on accident. Folks, I just want to be really clear. That was just, I was
But
making
I'm
a
also
list.
talking about, like, where you're just like, I'm gonna wear like my weird glasses, and I'm gonna wear my rainbow outfits, I'm gonna have blue hair, I'm gonna have all these tattoos. I'm like, no one gives a shit about that anymore.
No, I know, and that's what I love.
Yeah, that's not
out
cringe.
here.
Yeah.
Out here. That's why I love living in Los Angeles.
Well, Vermont.
Because
yeah,
Vermont, and when I visit my mom and take care of my mom in
Colombo.
Oh, George Colombo, hey! Oh, and Alan, so happy to have you back. I missed you. We missed you too, Alan. Oh, it's so good to be back. I'm like getting all flustered and whiskey and whatnot, but I love you guys so much. But yeah, it's one of those things that like whenever I to like Vermont, or not as much Vermont, because like I really don't care in Vermont. Like I just went back for my 20-year high school reunion that ended up being actually more flood relief, which I'm heading back to in 2 days, but whatever. But like it was Oklahoma that I felt like I had to make myself so small just not to cause a disturbance, and I hated it. I hated it so much. But yeah, so that is, I'm sorry, I'm like trying to get us back on track. San Diego Comic-Con, we had a great time. It was good. Looking forward to next year. I'm looking forward to next year not working a booth, but still on the or doing like what I used to do.
I have to say, like, this is the first year that I...
Oh, you did? Oh, wait. Can you please tell everybody, she did the best plan ever for San Diego. All San Diego Comic-Con professionals, listen to this woman, what she did.
So I literally just made reservations at restaurants that were close for lunch and dinner, and I made them for 6 people. And I figured, well, I can always cancel. And so whenever anybody hit me up, I was like, well, I'm available this, and this. And I listed off when I had spaces available. And literally everyone was like, fantastic, we'll meet for lunch, we'll meet for dinner, we'll meet for a drink. So I would show up at my reservation, and people would show up. We'd get seated, whether it was 5 people, 6 people, 4 people, 3, whatever it was, we would get seated, people could join. And then when I was done with that, everybody else that I hadn't seen, I would be like, you free for a drink? And I would just meet them up for a drink until my next appointment. And literally I only had like maybe 30 minutes of downtime. It was just lunches and dinners and drinks and then meetings.
And who was it that posted like right before you started San Diego, where it was like, oh, I can't wait for San Diego, just walking around for hours.
Jimmy Palmiotti.
That's what it was.
Where he was like waiting to get into places. The wait times are insane. Never getting a chance to eat until 9 o'clock because all the restaurants are full. Like all this stuff. And I literally made those reservations 2 weeks ahead of time, by the way. So I did it at the Marriott, I did it at Roy's, and then I did one fancy dinner with invite only. And then I also did, we did Morton's Steakhouse.
We did Morton's
which
Steakhouse.
Most people like don't do because it's kind of expensive. It's a steakhouse, but like I was like, you really want to meet up with me?
Let's go.
This is where it is.
We had.
Oh my god.
What was it?
You got a $75 bottle of wine.
excuse you, no, it was 50 bottles.
It was 75.
There was, that was the cheapest bottle of wine, by the way, of a Malbec. There was like 150.
And the fillets were $70
was
a
70
piece.
bucks a piece. So.
But that was a really great dinner because I literally got 2 jobs off of that dinner.
Yeah.
Like, no regrets, man.
Oh, the waiter was so nervous.
And the waiter, oh my God.
He was so sweet.
Yes.
He was like probably like
He
20-nothing-year-old.
Cleaning our table with like the little crumb thing endlessly.
Oh,
Endlessly.
Because I
And
feel
then
like I just
finally,
want to hear conversation.
Our
It's
third, who was there with us, was like, so you got a thing for like Ruth Ann or something? Like, what's going on? Like,
so
why?
Because like he spilled my wine when he was pouring. And I was like, I got it. Like, and I just started pouring anything outside.
It was just so hilarious.
I feel like we were his first table ever. And that poor sweet boy, that poor little blonde thing.
Yes.
Alan's brilliance.
Anyway.
And Kobe lives in Oklahoma. My mom is in Goldsby. So I spent about 4 months in 2021 taking care of my parents there. I love my mom. I love my mom. I don't want to live in Oklahoma. She tried to convince me so many times. I'm like, first of all, I have apparently what's the fear of flat lands? Like when there's no mountains, no hills, no buildings, I feel like I'm going to get blown off or I'm just going to like.
It is Tornado Alley.
Yeah, it is Tornado Alley. On top of it, it always reminds me of Douglas Adams in, I'm trying to remember which of the book series that he did this, where the trick to flying is throwing yourself at the ground and missing. That's my favorite version of flying. So that's what I feel like whenever I'm in like Oklahoma or anywhere too flat. I'm like, I'm just. But yeah, so that was San Diego. We had a great time. Like she did it brilliantly. I love there were some points that because she made lunch reservations as well. She's like, oh, when you can take your lunch break? I'm like, lunch?
Yeah,
Great.
she doesn't get a lunch break.
No, we have snacks and my boss has booze. That's about all we have.
I literally had a lunch with an old roommate from college that I hadn't seen since the 90s, and he
That was
joined
so
up
awesome.
with a producer and a cameraman, and like I literally, it was such an eclectic group of people, and they all had such a good time because I have this guy who literally he's just a fan. He's just my old high school, roomie that, I hadn't seen for decades. And then, like, all these industry people. And they were like, well, why are you here? What do you love? Like, and they just had this amazing conversation together. And it was brilliant. It was just, and he, like, texted me afterwards. He's like, I had such a great time. It was so great. And they were like, he's such a nice guy. Like, and everybody was just getting along. And it was just like, everybody's there for, like, the same reason to have fun, and he about stuff. It was so wonderful.
There was a lot of that kind of magic happening. And just real quick, Drew Sheldon, I'm sorry. I'm not hating on Oklahoma. It's just not for me. My mom is very happy there.
Which, by the way, I don't know why Drew's talking about Oklahoma.
Yeah. Why, Drew?
Are you moving to South Carolina or something?
Like,
or North
anyway, whatever. But for me, like, there was several amazing moments. So, like, whenever I started feeling down, because, like, since we last started doing Nerd Rage, I've been really shat on by the companies that I've worked for. And it's really made me question, like, if I'm good at this, if this is what I should be doing, if, like, I should take accountability and be like, maybe this is not, like, maybe I'm just not good at this stuff. But then I had so many magical moments of, like, my favorite was we ended up at this, like, after party, but then we went to a bar afterwards. A friend just was like, I saw your outfit and I knew you were here, and like she just grabbed me and pulled me back for this Crunchyroll party, which was very distracting. These guys, because then I had no service, so they thought I'd disappear.
Distracting. It was hilarious because so Ruth Ann and I, since we go to these cons all the time,
I have a history.
She has a history of just disappearing, and then she'll show up at the hotel room at 4 in the morning, completely drunk. Like an epic story.
I do show up with epic story.
Which at this point, you like disappeared. We looked around. Both of us texted you, like the people I was with, texted, got nothing. And literally, we're like, well, all right. So we just left.
And it was funny too because like this is my first con. I wasn't really drinking. Like I guess I was having some drinks and I was smoking some weed, but like I didn't go as hard as I usually do. And there's no need to go that hard. Like I'm finally like late 30s, like understanding I don't need to fucking like drink an entire bottle of whiskey to have a good time. Like I can just have a drink and chat, whatever.
Hilarious. We thought Ruth Ann wandered off to some party because she says pulled in. I got a text that said pulled in to an influencer party, and I was like, Like, no, that's what you said.
That's what I said?
And it was one text. We didn't get the rest.
Oh, that's right.
And so service, and so I got this one text message. So I was like, all right, well, be safe. Meet you back at the Hilton. And we left. And it turns out Roseanne was like 10 feet away in another room. Like 10 feet away.
10 feet away. For some reason, like, just no cell service. But it was wonderful because I walked in this room for people I had not seen in years, or I had not, like, one of which I'd never met in person, but we've been like really good friends on Instagram. Like, and it was just like, hey, and just sat and just like had really great conversation and like caught up on a bunch of stuff and just like had this very like nerd connection and bounced. And I didn't even drink. I was just like having a great time.
When I get a text message that says pulled into a Crunchyroll influencer party, I'm like, ugh. And I literally was like, I can't even. And I walked out. Just like, that's the difference between us. Well, I was like, oh God, there's no where less I'd rather be. Jesus Christ. I'm out.
This is also, I'm loving our comments because Christian is like, Drew, that guy owes me $50. Now Josh was like, same. Because my mom lives in Oklahoma, I have the weather app on my phone giving me alerts. So yes, I am sorry that it knocked out power in your area. Like, I love me some Oklahoma. I mean, like, I love my mom, but like,
okay.
Oklahoma just don't love me. That's all.
So now we're 34 minutes into this.
Jesus. All right, so let's talk about Marvel's Secret Invasion because we haven't had a chance. You finished it, right?
Yes, I did.
I know. I'm sorry. So all was like bad reviews.
The fact she just apologized for that should tell you everything.
Yeah.
You need to know.
So like, here's the thing: is that all I saw was terrible reviews about this show, and so I waited a long time. Like, legitimately, I only binged it like last week or so, and at first, like, all up until the last 30 minutes, what I'll say is I was just like, oh, all right. Like, I didn't hate it. To me, I put it on the same level as the Doctor Strange, the first movie, because like it gave me what I needed to like. Yes, I always appreciate when we go quieter, when doesn't have to be huge like superhero stuff, and now we're like in a very much of a spy like espionage movie. I love, and I even posted to my stories, I love that one monologue from Nick Fury that finally did the thing of like, why aren't you calling the Avengers? And like finally doing this thing. Now before you go, because then we'll get to the ending because that's my biggest issue. People talking about the fact like, oh, but it's not Nick Fury anymore, it's just Samuel L. Jackson. So this is where like there's a weird confluence of between the comic book world and also knowing the world of film and TV that makes me just highly disagree with people because a lot of people don't know that like Nick Fury, the character, used to be a white guy with a mustache, but then the writer actually based it on Samuel L. Jackson when they switched it to the black guy with an eye patch. They literally based it on Samuel L. Jackson. So for it to be like, they're like, oh, it's too much Samuel L. Jackson. It's like, well, no, that's what this show happened was because he was like, I'm the producer. So yeah, he gets to call the shots. And I love, they've only done it with Iron Man 3 and with this show of actually dealing with the emotional and like psychological repercussions of these intense battles for just normal humans. So that part I liked. The ending, I did not.
Oh, you don't like him making out with an alien? You don't like that?
Oh no, that I'm fine with actually.
I thought that was stupid.
No, see what I like. So this show, there's a lot of stuff that I feel like there's a lot of apartheid like layers to it. There's a lot of
spoilers, by the way.
Oh shit, yeah.
I realized that right after I just gave the ending away.
I mean, they made out. I mean, no, that's fine. He makes out with an alien because we know it's his major.
Come on. Okay, so
Joshua says he enjoys what I've seen, haven't finished it.
I'm very sorry.
Okay, Joshua, we're about to like spoil stuff, so like,
yeah. Okay, here's the thing. All right, so first of all,
co-baker's Anthony gives it, yep.
So I was not on board to watch it because I already heard that they used AI to do the opening sequence, and I saw the opening sequence and was like, okay, so not only did they make a choice to use AI, but it was terrible. It was terrible. Like, it proved nothing. Like, if they were like, oh, look at what we can do, I'd be like, well, all right, it's cool, but I'm still against AI. Like, you know, you have, like, your feelings about that. But it sucked. Everything about it sucked. And so automatically I'm going in with, like, this attitude of, like, fuck you for not hiring people to do this and paying them. And then also, it's terrible. Why would you make this choice? Like, you know, so then I watch it and I'm bored. I am bored the majority of the way through. Like, I barely remember when it's coming out. I did not binge.
Yeah.
I watched it week to week.
Oh,
and
you did? I'm
yeah,
so sorry.
I
I
barely
feel like it made it
remembered.
worse.
It was when I had literally nothing else to watch, and I was like, ugh, I guess I'll put this on. And then I basically multitasked while I was watching it, and I just thought it was a lackluster storyline, and like literally everybody was a Krull. I'm like, okay. And then like everybody's dying. You're like, they're not really dead. They're Krulls. Like or like whatever. It was just so uninspired to me. And then of course, Agent Fury comes back. He finds out his wife has been one, and you're just like, all right,
Well, no, he knew his wife was one the whole time.
No, he didn't.
No, remember Fury's
like,
wife.
No, they had a whole conversation. When did this happen? And she was like, this happened at this time.
No,
and he was like,
no, he knew
that you were gone.
Well, no, Oh, you're saying going against him. He knew she was a.
Not the whole time. No.
Yes, remember because it does a flashback to when he was still using her as an agent, and she had chosen a sexier body.
Oh, the flashback.
So they cover that, but it doesn't cover when she went with. Let's call him Garrick, but whatever the bad guy's name.
Yeah, that guy.
But yeah, so I do want to catch up with stuff because Kobe does agree with you on the opening that was really bad. Okay, Witcher. Take a pause on that. We'll talk about that in a bit.
Gwen's like, it's
I know,
so
Gwen,
hard not to write a monologue.
Honestly, Gwen, do it. Do it, Gwen. Write it. And Joshua, thank you for being okay with spoilers. And George, thank you for pointing out, yes, the Hawkeye series also did deal with PTSD of being human with those super battles. Absolutely, sorry. And I loved the Hawkeye series.
The Hawkeye one was good. This one, actually, and a lot of people I know felt the same when I was reading about this, was that people are fatigued by all the Marvel shit at this point because it's been mediocre. And so, yes, like Guardians of the Galaxy, the origin Rocket was good, but like by and far, people are like, okay, it's on a downswing. It'll go up again.
Well,
it'll go up again.
But
Marvel Invasion gave an excuse to peace out.
That's a good point. So like for me, what I've noticed is that, and maybe I'm in the minority here, but like when I've loved the latest Marvel movies and the Marvel like stuff is when it's doing something different and really like leaning into the specific genre of the IP, right? So like look at when Guardians of the Galaxy 3, personal violence, it was also tried to make as hilarious violence, like in the same movie, and that's tough for me, but that's just because I'm a tender little thing, so I just have to rewatch that. But I love, like, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Like, I love that we had Sam Raimi turn it into a horror movie, and I love whenever I talk about Sam Raimi, I'm like, we're gonna do the Sam Raimi twist and pull in, because that's what that needed, and that's what Guardians of the Galaxy got right from the get-go, is that this is thematically this way. And like this is because when we have all of Marvel movies just having that same Marvel movie feel, it's not interesting because that also like, and we can get into a discussion of when it comes to comic book fans versus movie fans, because as my really good friend John Carl keeps talking about when it comes to the Secret Invasion, is it's so not like the comic books that it pissed off a lot of the comic book fans. And I admit I have not read the Secret Invasion comic book series of this.
I
so like,
either.
So
but also I don't read Marvel or DC.
Not anymore. Yeah. Let me just make sure.
That's so much other good shit to read.
Oh, okay. So hello. I'm terrible at pronouncing names. I'm so sorry. This is me. Oh, you can't see either.
What is it?
SYED side, maybe? SYED side says, what movie are you most excited for? Gun DC Phase 1. I'm going to wait and see, is what I say. That's what I feel about that.
I feel that way too, only because, well, first of all, I really love the casting choices. I'm really super into that, and so I have hope. But also, I've had hope before, and it's been dashed.
You mean the symbol of hope? This is the symbol of hope now? Is it? I think it's a fucking S for Superman, is what I think it is. It's a symbol for hope.
So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. Like, I literally have formed zero opinions because, hope has been dashed.
So, like, Akobe, I appreciate you because he's getting into, like, Moon Knight, he like that. I like Moon Knight. You know what, let's save... let's save this part of the discussion for maybe Tuesday to talk about like that, and stick around. You'll find out when and where Tuesday is happening, because I will talk to you guys for hours about this. We finished our
minutes.
what? Yes. Okay. There's so much time. I didn't realize. Oh, I missed this so much. I missed you. Now let me do the full rage about the ending of Secret Invasion. So like, if you don't, just like mute for a little bit, I don't know, make a hand signal to show you that I'm done talking about this. But literally, we just had She-Hulk point out the stupidity of ending every Marvel movie with the bad guy having the same super serum or the same suit or the same powers, and then you battle it out. So I tried to retcon it as much as I could to have Khaleesi have all of the fucking powers.
Khaleesi.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call her Khaleesi, because that's what she is. Amelia Clark, whatever, Gaia, which I. Anyways, so there's a nerd battle happening inside me, because
This is the only other time I've liked Amelia Clark. All of her movies are trash, and like at this time, I was like, all right, I kind of like her in this.
The only other time I really feel like I was like with her was when she was
rom-coms and crap. I'm like,
well, she's adorable and little. Why? Like she's also like this big. Like that makes sense. No, you don't like it.
She's like very childlike, and it's disturbing.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway,
tangent. Like we should have another podcast which is called Tangent, because we'll go for days. But here's what I did appreciate of having it. I was like, because there's that split second that I was like, I swear to fuck, if they'd given Nick Fury all the powers of the I'm gonna be like, I was so mad for a second, and then you're like, oh no, just kidding, it's Gaia.
Yeah.
Great. I did appreciate, I'm trying so hard. This is how much I love Marvel. I'm like retconning it in my brain as it's happening. I'm like, I want to like this more, make me like it more. I'm like, I am glad, because it is Skrull dealing with a Skrull issue, and she wanted to be on equal footing with him to act, and the only way she could be on equal footing with him is actually getting the powers all at the same time. And so like, I appreciated it. It was, and I love the fact that she was like, you killed my mom, you killed my dad, let's go. But other than that, it was so. So we're catching up with the comments. Oh yes, her monologue. Marvel. Wait. Marvel is at its most interesting when it leans into genre. Phase 1 did it best. I absolutely agree. We're getting so many comments. I love this. Iron Man, full action. Hulk, sci-fi. Thor, fantasy.
Yeah. Captain America, war, and then Winter Soldier, political, and
etc.
Yeah,
Marvel is at its worst when all the Marvel's movies look the same. Agreed. Multiverse of Madness is a horror film with such a breath of fresh air. Yes, like that was exactly what I was talking about. Yes, we agree.
And also
Secret Invasion as a character drama absolutely could have worked, but it really just was the execution. I absolutely agree. Oh yeah, you're right. And the Gwen, I love you, Gwen. The Ant-Man series is a heist movie. Yeah, it's time heist. Obviously, I love it. Make sure I'm catching up with that. Yes, so we're all caught up with it. So that was my issue with the ending. Is it's just like, seriously, we're going to do what we just pointed out in the latest Marvel TV show is dumb. Like you could have done, and like I don't even like the CGI of like now she has this, and also like were they hinting?
The guy who adapted this, like what was his name? Oh god, I had it before this started because I literally stared at his name.
Memorize it.
Like at the start of every episode, and I was like, "You sir have failed. You failed." Yes, I'm like,
you have failed this city.
With everything else, you have failed, and I was like, I'm going to remember your name, and now I can't remember it, of course. But anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're 10 minutes out.
Okay, so that's how you felt about.
Yeah.
Honestly, like let's just go.
Yeah.
I know we're 10 minutes out, but this is our first time coming back. Let's just keep going. If we keep going, we keep going. But so I want to make sure you're done. We've raged. We've raged. Okay, it is time for the rave that we've been waiting for, which is the Barbie movie. Oh my Christmas. Okay, so it's yas. Wait. Hey Chris, tell us about this Barbie and how you got it.
Okay, so you guys, Barbie holds a special place in my heart because not only did I have everything Barbie growing up, but my aunt, who recently passed away, like she passed away last month, she was the Barbie relative. So basically every Christmas, she bought me the new Barbie stuff that was coming out when I was a child. And so I was always super, super excited for her gift because it was Barbie. And so it was either a new Barbie, it was the Barbie dream house, it was the Barbie car, it was the horse, it was anything I wanted.
The horse.
The hair that grew, whatever the hell it was always Barbie related. So I grew up very, very much a Barbie girl. Now this is Barbie, Entrepreneur Barbie, from 2014. So when I came out here and was working at Girl Scouts, Mattel had a partnership with Girl Scouts to teach girls. We had to do a whole program, which you were a part of.
I was.
Yes.
She brought me to Girl Scouts, and because of her, I'm technically a Girl Scout.
Yes. So essentially, Mattel wanted us to go out to lower income areas, and all girls who were in schools that were part of this program would gather in the cafeteria, and we would basically teach girls about subjects where they could be anything they wanted, and that was Barbie Entrepreneur. And so we got these specially made dolls, which are now actually worth some money. So
yeah.
And so they were very much pro, like, Barbie stands on her own. Barbie can do anything. Barbie is the person that you can be. Like, you can be Barbie, and it had nothing to do with how skinny she was or what her dimensions were. That was not
her
Barbie.
Skin or her
Barbie
hair, like
was all different nationalities. She was black, she was Hispanic, she was white, she was everything. I can't remember which one this is, but she has the brown hair, not the blonde. Yeah. So I think it might be Hispanic Barbie. But anyway, regardless, and so I've always been
so I can tell, like, now my side of, like, Barbie, which is, and it's so, I just love whenever I can hear, because, like, when even it came to Girl Scouts and me, because I grew up, I was in such a small town, there actually wasn't Girl Scouts, like, when I was younger, and my mom had talked about being Girl Scout, and it didn't click, and, like, then it became compared to Boy Scouts, and I knew Boy Scouts was kind of like, and so by the time I met you and you brought up Girl Scouts, I was like, oh, Girl Scouts, they sell cookies, okay. And then I find out it's amazing. And I get to work with Chris. She hires me on. I'm a program specialist where I get to go to these schools of underprivileged, like, areas and do these free, like, 3 sessions to bring them in for a year for free if they want to join. And teaching these amazing stuff, like, so, like, Dove did a confidence, self-esteem thing, where I learned stuff as a 30-year-old. Like, I'm like, wait, I'm learning all this stuff about confidence, let's go. And then another, one of the other ones that I did most often was an anti-bullying thing, which was just, it was so amazing, and, like, it is so empowering. So I'm so glad you had that version, because for me, Barbie was the thing that always made me feel bad. And it wasn't because of anything my family did, because I just happened to grow up with 2 older sisters that were blonde and skinny and perfect and popular and sportsing and all this kind of stuff. And then here comes me, this very neurodivergent, very sensitive, very weird, I don't know how to talk to humans. And also I was just, like, bigger, like, yes, I've gotten, like, skinnier over the years, but, like, I was just bigger. Like, there was always this joke with me and my sister Julie, because my Julie's voice, like, Ruth Ann, or stand for me, and okay, Julie. Like, I was just always bigger, and, like, always felt so awkward. And I just, every time holding up Barbie, would just know I'm never gonna be this, and it was something so alien to me.
Yeah, and that you were being very superficial. That's not what she stood for.
I know, and I didn't know,
which is amazing, because
I didn't have to.
And so I did not know going into this movie that it was going to be so much about, like gender roles, and so which was absolutely appropriate. So I was basically almost like choking up the entire movie. Because Ken was never. They portrayed Ken so accurately of, like, he's not really relevant to Barbie's world. Like, she doesn't need Ken. She doesn't need a dude. She is Barbie. Like, she can do anything she wants. Ken's like a side piece. Like, she's like,
but this is Barbie's house. Like,
yes. Like, and so the movie portrayed that so accurately, where he was like, I'm nothing until she looks at me. And, like, it was, but then he finds, like, he goes on an exploration of, like, what it is to be a man, what it is to be Ken. And by the end, he's realizing, like, oh my God, like, there's such a spectrum of, like, these gender identities.
Yeah, like, and he's like, but crying is weak, and it's like, no, it's fine. It feels really
he
good
goes through
at the
this
end of the
whole
day.
journey,
Like,
but it's like on the side of Barbie's journey.
yeah.
And when they finally come back together, she realizes things, he realizes things. I am Knuff, you know, like
Yeah.
Knuff
is my favorite teacher.
Yeah, and like
ever.
It was just to me like so great. And I've talked to a bunch of people who felt like it was beating you over the head with like stuff, but I was like, I think you're missing it. Like you're not looking, you're looking at the surface, like instead of looking at the journey of both Ken and of Barbie and of Alan. Like they all had journeys that they were on, and you were like, this is it. Like, oh my God, it's like captured so perfectly because Alan's the best, man.
Okay,
Alan's
pause
the
on that,
best.
because okay, no, I'll just go right into it. So I finally, when I saw it last night, because it just was at Comic-Con, like she literally left Comic-Con and had a 1 p.m. appointment before she already had her ticket.
Sunday.
She's like, I got this. But so when she told me, she's like, oh, and Alan, when I and it's interesting because it's not just you. Like I've seen it on the internet, I was like, oh my God, Alan. And maybe it's because I didn't know the full lore of Barbie, because they were never my Barbies. It was my sister's Barbies. I think that's the difference too. Is that like I was allowed to play with my sister's Barbies, and my sister was Barbie. You know, she was blonde and perfect and this.
But
and
Alan was like, he was full on supportive.
he was so supportive. He was like ready.
Barbie.
He's like, I was like, need
He
to
was
escape
like,
this
I am
male
backing-
toxicity.
Yes, he was like, and he's also, I mean, he's representative of like the perfect male of like who doesn't need to
Validation
from anyone. He was like, I am who I am, and I already know who I am, and I know what's right and I know what's wrong. And so he was like, look, we need to like, and anything that Barbie wanted to do, he was like, all right. Like let's just, I guess we're doing this.
Yeah,
you know, and it was kind of amazing in a way because it was so subtle, but also like if you knew him as like the doll, you were like, who the fuck is Alan? Like,
well, that was
no
my
one
favorite
gave a shit about Alan. Like,
oh,
Ken's friend.
It's like,
no one cares about Ken.
Yeah, my favorite was when like she's like, oh my God, who are you? And she's like, I'm Alan. He's like, oh my God, you are. That's so great. Like it was just like, can you exist in this world? That's
Okay,
so
and tell
great.
me you didn't cry at the old lady part. Yes.
I was girl. From like, because I knew right away when it was the flashbacks, or like when Barbie first closed her eyes and had the memories, I knew it was the mom. Like I knew it wasn't the daughter, because it's always from the mom's point of view. Like that was just obvious. But then like, and then when she, it's just shut up. When she turned it's like, you're beautiful. I'm like,
yes, there's a moment, and it was one of those moments.
For you.
Yes, it was like, I thought the movie was really well done. It was very unexpected for me, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, and for me, like, because I saw it a week later than most people, including you, I had heard, like, you know, you see, and I actually appreciate the internet. You did very well this time of non-spoilers, but still being like, my world has been shaken, you know. So I was expecting this really earth shift for me, like watching it. But I think because I was prepared for that, I was like, when she does the monologue, what us being a woman, it was this weird feeling of like, yeah, I mean, people don't know this. And then I see these videos coming out of like reels on Instagram, and then, you know, TikToks of these men being like, I just saw, you know, even it's just like them filming their face of like, just like in shock of being, and then in text being like, I just saw Barbie, and I realizing I didn't know my sisters at all, and I feel like an alien. Like,
you know, and it's funny because I talked to you ahead of time, and you were like, I'm not really interested in seeing Barbie. And I was like, really? And you were like, and you were very embarrassed.
But yeah, right before it came out, I was like, I mean, I'll see it.
You're like,
I don't.
Yeah, and I remember, after I saw it, I was like, I cannot believe you aren't more excited to see this movie. Is so up your freaking alley. Like,
well,
oh my God.
Like, because we have a very different history of Barbie. So that makes sense, right? Because like
you weren't even like looking into it though. You were just like, eh.
Well, also I have my weird thing about I try not to watch any trailers.
This is when we went to go see Mission Impossible because we saw
a trailer for it.
For it, and I remember you were like, Oppenheimer, and I was like, it's the biggest movies of the summer, and you were just like,
I have reasons why I'm not interested in Oppenheimer, and I don't know if anybody wants to hear them, but like okay, so first of all, I am the absolute weirdo that if it's just based on like real life stuff, I'm like, cool. But it's also, and this is just.
It isn't like learning, just like knowing anything new. It's just very
It's
much
not
like, oh, I like to live
you,
in
bitch.
fantasy.
No, that's not what it's
fiction.
about. It's just that it's about like, okay, there's
Like
two
real life.
levels of it. Of A, I'm tired of seeing the real life stories of just more white people. Like I've been watching more real life stories about everybody else, but like it's just when I saw the trailer, I'm like, okay. And also, it's about a subject that I just am not that interested in. Like I don't really.
The atomic bomb.
Yeah, I don't want to know more about that. This is one of those ladies who loves to watch like the serial killer. Like I have the third. Like,
oh my god!
No, I've no. That scars
Give me
me
a good documentary
no.
anytime. I watch the fuck out of documentaries.
So
I love
certain documentaries, but when it comes to like murders and that kind of stuff, like I have no interest. I get
it's
so
the human
upset.
condition. I need to know what makes people do what they do.
And I realize what it is because like in my youth and everything I've gone through, I've had so much of that kind of like I've seen that kind of.
Reconcile. I'm like.
I'm like, they have a chemical
out. Such a tangent.
I know.
And we're over.
We will tangent for a day. So, but we have a lot of announcements to talk about. So that was our nerd rave.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of announcements. So we are bringing back as many podcasts as we can, but we're gonna like step it up one at a time. So gonna bring back Ruse Day Tuesday. So this Tuesday, you can join me here on our both our Facebook and our YouTube for Ruse Day Tuesday at noon PST, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and I'm gonna talk about. Not only The Witcher, because somebody else brought that up, because Chris doesn't watch that yet, and I'm not gonna make her watch that.
I watched season 1 and I was like,
only season. Anyways, we're gonna talk about Witcher.
I need more than hot Henry Cavill. I need more. And I just didn't.
There's what's her face who plays the witch. Anyways, listen. Don't get me distracted. So I'm gonna talk about Witcher. I'm also gonna talk about all things Star Trek, especially Strange New Worlds, because that's been coming out. I'm fucking obsessed. There's one other thing. Oh, Good Omens. I'm gonna talk about Good Omens as well. And if you have the chance, please subscribe to our Substacks.
Correct.
Because Geek Chic Promotions, right? Because we're gonna start we're gonna do a lot more, but we're gonna start off with a podcast. It's actually me interviewing people from my life and talking about not only my life, but I want to tell the story from everybody's perspective because I want this not to be a documentary about me, but about the people who made me, and like the whole like everything. And if anybody wants to join that it's going to be called a Pin in It project, and we'll start that very soon. So subscribe to our Substacks. There's going to be a lot. There's going to be newsletter. There's going to be all the stuff that's Geek Chic and all that kind of stuff, and bring it back Geek Chic to its fullest.
We're going to do Down to Nerd, which is going to be under the paid subscription
yes,
tier.
as well. So Down to Nerd is going to be like special guests where we focus in on them showing me something that I didn't know about in the nerd pop culture world, as well as me maybe showing them. It's going to be this great like crossover thing of bringing in like special guests and all that kind of stuff, and we'll be making announcements about that on our social media, but it'll only be available on our Substack. So that is everything Geek Chic related. Right? I want to thank you all because it's because of you guys. For some reason, you like hearing us talk and having us here. I mean, I know I like hearing her talk. I've been so excited about this for like I didn't sleep
and I'm
last
like,
night.
oh god, I gotta like
this is.
makeup.
I know. I've not do my hair because I was like, I did not sleep last night. I've been so excited about this. So thank you all so much for joining. I'm just making sure we're caught up on all of our comments. So make sure to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
Spread the word.
And we'll see you again, same bat time, same bat channel on Sunday Funday at 10 a.m. Western time, 1 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to just keep this rolling. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
As we... Oh, no. Okay, no, we're good. At first, I thought it was like... wasn't rolling on this. End.